So let's take a closer look at consumer spending trends from 2024. First, total retail sales from August through October show a 2.3% increase compared to the same period in 2023, indicating steady growth in consumer spending. The National Retail Federation, or the NRF, projected full year growth for 2024 to be between 2.5% and 3.5%. Two categories show particularly strong growth. Non-store retailers, which include e-commerce and other direct-to-consumer channels, are up by a very impressive 7%. Additionally, last spending on food services and drink places rose by 4.3% in that same month. Looking at the bar chart, October stands out overall with a 6.1% increase, the highest growth seen this year, highlighting strong performance as we head into the holiday season after October. Next slide. However, while still spending, consumers remain worried about their finances. In fact, when asked about the greatest concerns in their lives, money related issues are by far the most critical. Some data points worth noting from this chart here would be the green line highlighting the cost of living, followed by the orange line highlighting affordable healthcare. This chart is great because it provides a bit of a roadmap for understanding what's influencing consumer decision making as we enter 2025. We shouldn't be too surprised to see these concerns as we look into the state of inflation. While inflation rates have come down, the reality is that consumers are still grappling with the ongoing sticker shock of higher prices. It's very important to remember that just because the rate of price increases has slowed, it doesn't mean families who are already struggling to make ends meet are suddenly feeling this crazy relief. So while the economic headlines might celebrate some progress, the day to day reality for consumers tells a very different story. As the chart on the left of this slide shows here, prices have jumped 21.5% from 2019 to 2024, with most of that increase taking place more recently in 2023. So, as we examine how consumers are managing their spending, it becomes very evident that a significant portion of it is being financed through increasing debt. There's a notable rise in credit card debt, which has jumped by 87 billion year over year, an 8% increase. Auto loan balances have also climbed steadily, now standing at 1.6 trillion. Meanwhile, home equity revolving debt has grown modestly, still standing lower than other debt balances, but significant enough that consumers are using it to aid their finances. All this to say, while debt can provide very short term relief, the growing reliance on it signals potential long term challenges, especially as interest rates remain high, which is not sustainable over the long term for most consumers. The bottom line takeaway on consumer spending, what Gartner has dubbed the ongoing wake effect of inflation, continues to shape purchase behaviors. This concept highlights that higher prices are not just a temporary hurdle, but will create lasting ripple effects on consumer decision making for at least the next 12 to 24 months. Consumers are now approaching every purchase a little bit more critically, asking themselves questions like, should I even make this purchase? If I do, how can I save money or find the best value? And where is the most affordable place to buy really what I need? This shift in mindset kind of underscores the importance of brands demonstrating value, affordability, and just overall trust to meet the evolving consumer expectations in this very challenging environment. So it's not just purchasing decisions that have changed. Many consumers feel that the decision making as a whole has become increasingly challenging over time. Several key factors contribute to this growing challenge. First, being the sheer number of decisions consumers face has increased, with more options and considerations in pretty much every aspect of life. Second, the volume of information they need to process to make these decisions has risen significantly. And then just the time and energy required to verify all this information are leaving many consumers just feeling mentally fatigued. This dynamic is shaping how consumers engage with brands and make choices, emphasizing the importance of just simplicity, clarity, and honestly trust in your messages and your offerings. If you attended our trends presentation last year, you may recall that one of the contradictions in consumer behaviors that we highlighted was the fact that consumers were both splurging on some products, but then trading down on others. This behavior has not gone away, but it's kind of evolved into a slightly different type of behavior or goal that some researchers are calling prioritized value. This behavior reflects the complexity of today's consumer mindset, where people are making deliberate and honestly sometimes contrasting decisions about where to spend their money. This concept of prioritized value challenges brands and marketers to think beyond the traditional metrics of cost and quality. We are definitely in an era where consumers are asking, does this align with what matters most to me right now? And that's the lens through which they are evaluating everything from everyday essentials to luxury purchases. This consumer mindset is key to unlocking opportunities and staying relevant in an increasingly competitive landscape. While ultimately price continues to drive purchase decisions here, consumers are now open to different hybrid options that detail the value that they might receive from a given purchase. So, this graphic on the left here is taken from Nielsen IQ's Outlook report for 2025, and it illustrates several different types of hybrid values that consumers are willing to consider. From this chart, overall, 64% of consumers would purchase a product that was innovated to be as affordable as possible. So, going off of that, 70% of consumers would purchase a new product that is energy efficient or lower cost to run. And then 67% would change or try a new brand with lower price. Switching to cheaper medicine with equal quality is also an option some consumers are considering, along with just using natural or more homemade ingredients to save some money. So, going back to this interplay in consumers' minds between value and need, consumers continue to think more broadly and emotionally than most marketers and agencies perceive. This was called out in our 2024 trends, and it definitely continues into 2025. What I find interesting is how this interplay challenges the conventionally defined categories we've relied on to organize purchases. These neatly defined silos, like wants and needs, simply don't hold up anymore in the face of how consumers actually think and behave for their purchases. So, for example, think about the idea of a need. It's no longer limited to basic survival items like food, water, or shelter. For some, a gym membership might be just as essential as groceries because it contributes to their mental and physical health. Or consider value. It's not just about finding the cheapest option. It could mean investing in something that aligns with their personal values, like sustainability, or something that delivers joy or status, like a luxury brand. The data points on here definitely speak to the trend itself, with 26% of consumers saying their annual vacation is a must have, along with snacks and entertainment options. This reality creates both a challenge and an opportunity for us. The challenge lies in breaking out of old frameworks and learning to approach consumer behavior with a more nuanced and empathetic strategy. The opportunity is the chance to build deeper connections with our audiences by understanding what value and need means to them and not just what it means to us. So, to sum up the section, consumers are looking to have wiser wallets in 2025. For marketers and their agency partners, this means focusing on reconnecting your value proposition with the priorities of your target audience to demonstrate credible value. It also just means prioritizing the fundamentals of the consumer brand relationship by showing the same loyalty that you expect from your customers. And just finally, it's about staying consistent, avoiding frequent shifts in strategy or messaging to ensure your brand's message remains clear and impactful. So, the second half of our consumer spending section will be focused on 2024 holiday spending and its results. By nearly all accounts, the holiday sale season lived up to its very merry and bright forecast, which is notable given that the expectations were already quite optimistic. Online retail sales rose 8.7% year over year to a record $241.1 billion dollars in spend. Also, as forecasts, people did shop in force during the big promotional event days like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Super Saturday, and then the newest one being Travel Tuesday. Some e-commerce saw the strongest growth during these sales days. One way consumers did not indulge this holiday season was spending for themselves, at least not as much as last year when they spent more for themselves than others. While spending is up, a third of Americans took on debt this holiday season in order to purchase gifts, with an average debt falling at $1,181, which is a $153 increase from last year. I found that note very interesting. So now that we've seen the pure volume of holiday sales this year, let's dive into what consumers were purchasing. Experiences definitely took the lead on sales this year, trumping traditional gifts. The average spending on experiences jumped from $632 in average spend to $735. Traditional gifts definitely saw a decrease this year, going from $554 in average spend to $536. This shift highlights an evolving trend in consumer priorities, with more people choosing to invest in activities and experiences that foster connection and create lasting memories rather than actual physical product or good. So, with consumers making more purchases than ever, where are they shopping? Shopping channel surfing has become the norm, with consumers having more options on where to purchase their goods from. Online and in-store seem to have both pros and cons for the consumer. Starting with online, obviously consumers appreciate the time saver along with the product availability and variety. Consumers can confidently assume that they will be able to purchase the item they want with ease each time. However, consumers still enjoy in-person shopping for other reasons, mostly for product quality, responsive customer service, and hassle-free returns. I personally avoid an online return like it's the plague. An interesting note that we definitely saw creeping in last year, but has made more of an established impact in 2024, is buying gifts on social media. This year, 13% of consumers bought gifts from social media, with 54% of all online transactions occurring just on a smartphone. With this, it's important to note the shopping channels change in each stage of the purchasing process. So, when it comes to the discovery stage, all generations want to be in store or talking with family or friends. This might feel counterintuitive for our digital native generations, but it also signals that younger shoppers still value the social and experimental aspects of brick and mortar shopping, especially during key periods like the holidays. As you can see on our chart, websites, search engines, and social media are definitely lower in comparison to our traditional discovery channels. However, it is slightly higher for our younger groups. But when it comes to purchasing, social and search engines drop significantly for all generations, but it's still slightly higher for younger generations, of course, playing that dual role as a source of inspiration and a direct shopping channel. Online options are a more typical form of purchasing for younger generations, but for the older generations, they would much rather be in person to purchase their items. So, what can you get from both of these charts? Well, first, proof that a one size fits all approach for shopping channels does not exist or work. For older generations, leaning into traditional channels like in store shopping can definitely maximize your engagement. And then for the younger generations, the key lies in seamless digital experiences and just leveraging social media as a shopping, but also a discovery tool. By meeting each consumer where they are, brands can definitely optimize their impact across all age groups. So, all this to say, consumer spending trends for 2024 show growth, caution, and just overall shifting of priorities. While retail sales show promising increases, underlying concerns about inflation, debt, and financial security continue to shape purchasing behaviors. So, as we head into 2025, it's clear that understanding these mindsets will be essential for brands to remain relevant and successful in a very highly competitive market.